Trophy have put on 73 so far, and Durham on a flat track are looking for inspiration and ideas. They said at lunchtime it's going to be tough work for the bowlers, and it's quite hot out there now as well. We did have a happening shower, which only took me off the pitch for about 6 minutes, but this is the current feed. We have blue skies here, and there is a bit of weather from the southwest. I think that might miss us, so we should be in for a great finish to this one. Durham needs to think about how they can try and take these wickets. We'll be back on air, big commentary, just before 4 again.
Welcome back for the final time in this game to the Fisher County Ground, Grace Road in Leicester. Final session of the Bob Willis Trophy match between Leicestershire and Durham, and it could be a cracker because Leicestershire, needing 292 to win the game, are 142 for 2, which those of you who are quick at maths will quickly work out means they need another 150 runs to win. They have 31 overs to score those runs. The required rate then is 4.6 runs per over, but they have 8 wickets in hand. Captain Colin Ackerman is at the crease. He's on 30. Young Sam Evans has passed 50 for the first time for the Foxes in his first game of the season. He is 64 not out, and a crucial spell coming up, one suspects, from Ben Rain, the former Leicestershire player. Runs in for Durham from the pavilion end and bowls to Evans, who is care and attention as he strokes the ball back down the wicket in defence. Runs out to mid-on, and there is no run. BBC Radio Leicester and BBC Radio Newcastle bringing you ball by ball commentary, as the BBC does on every ball bowled in domestic county cricket throughout the summer. Your commentators for this game have been Richard Ray, myself and Martin Emerson. Rain, number 44 on his back, runs away from us, bowls outside off stump, looking to cut it away, sort of drive it away off the front foot with a slightly angled, picks out the man at point, and there is no run. Put my sunglasses, darned if I can find him again, so I've got my normal glasses on, but the fact that I need sunglasses is a good sign. There's still plenty of blue sky around. There's some dark clouds away to the west, but fingers crossed they're sort of heading up the M1 on the other side of the city. In goes Rain, and is driven by Evans, thick outside edge. It's going to run along the ground towards third man, and does. Evans picks up one. He's on to 65, 143 for... I didn't go and put the kettle on. What on earth did I do with them? Need to hang them around. No, I'm never going to get one of those things that hang around one's neck. Glasses, chain or string or whatever they're called. Not yet, surely. Rain, fourth ball of the over, is in and bowls. And just drags his length back a little bit, and Ackerman, who is looking to get forward, just has to adjust. And he too plays very straight, puts the ball back up the pitch. There they are, down on the floor. Rain, still sort of bearded as in his Leicestershire days, turns, runs in and bowls. And looking to drive, Ackerman does drive, but sliding across. Has to be a little bit careful in the way he slides Brydencast, because he's got a big long right leg, so his right heel was sort of leading and juddering along the ground rather. Could easily have dug in and jarred his right knee. It didn't, thankfully. He picks up the ball, hands it to Ben Rain. He's got his reflective, orangey, ready sunglasses perched on the back of his cap. Update coming for BBC Radio Leicester, but we might just get this Rain over in he goes and bowls and turned towards mid-wicket, single taken. Here comes the update. We have just restarted after tea. 2 runs taken by Leicestershire from the first over after tea, so they've moved on to 144 for 2. They need another 148 runs off 30 overs. That's a run rate of 4.6, but 2 men going nicely at the crease. Young Sam Evans passed 50 for the first time for the Foxes. He's 65 not out. The captain, Colin Ackerman, on whom much depends, is 31 not out. So the Foxes, going nicely, will be confident of chasing these runs down if the weather stays kind. It's 144 for 2. Well, Eckersley's gone back to his 2 main strike bowlers at the start of this session. Rain bowled the first over, and it's going to be Paul Coughlin who's going to bowl the second from the Bennett end. In he comes and bowls to Ackerman, full, driven, but can't get it past mid-off, who gets across to his right and cuts the ball off, still playing very straight. Ackerman where he can. 144 for 2 remains the score. Wide open spaces on the leg side. Lee mid-on in a single saving position, otherwise deep backward square, and Rain himself at long leg, the only fielders on the leg side. Coughlin in, bowls to Ackerman, again very straight, a little bit squared up the South African, pushes the ball back up the pitch and gives him a little look. Coughlin there as he half stopped the ball in his follow through, left-handed stop. 144 for 2, the lights still on, unnecessarily now. They came on when the clouds closed in rather than the players did go off, but for no more than 10 minutes. In goes Coughlin and bowls a very high bouncer, ducks underneath it. Ackerman and umpire Cook and umpire Mallanders said each other. 1-4 the over, says Nick Cook, but it wasn't too high that it couldn't be reached, so not a no ball on height. There will come a point at which Durham will have to switch into run saving, you would have thought. In goes Coughlin and ball driven in the air, but he's got it through. Cameron still looked interested and was interested, couldn't quite get there, and running back from mid-off, Matt Salisbury picks up around about 4 or 5 yards inside the road over it, deep, extra wide, long off. Ackerman too, but the fact he was prepared to drive that, and it really was in the air as it went past Cameron Steele to shortish extra cover, a yard or two, and the American-born Steele would have had it in his hands. In goes Coughlin and bowls. Fuller this time on driven, but mid-on makes a good diving stopper, I think is Cars. Again, left leg this time sort of extended as he got his body behind it. So he's going for his shots here, Ackerman, but at the moment he's not piercing the field. Just the 2 runs from this Coughlin over, so 4 runs post tee. But seeing the way he's playing Eckersley, he's sending second slip, who's David Beddingham, out to mid-wicket. Coughlin, hair flowing, comes in and bowls to Ackerman, and he goes back and just deflects it down wide of where Beddingham was standing at second slip. Probably went through about third slip, bounced a long way before, it wouldn't have been a catch. It was a deliberate little dab guide by Ackerman. He picks up one as the ball is fielded by Lees at third man, and the single is taken. So 3 off the over. Ackerman onto 34. Leicestershire 147 for 2. So they are passed off way to win 145. Overs remaining 29. Rain waits because Eckersley again is taking out one of the slips, so he's just going to go with a single slip. Sean Dixon is going to mid-wicket this time. David Beddingham is going to be the single slip. Ackerman waits as Rain goes in and bowls to him, and he drives firmly hard down into the ground. Delivery just outside off stump, can't get it through the infield. Diving to his, I think that still makes the stop. Just what to turn. Either way, there's no run. Beg your pardon, it's Gareth Hart who's at extra cover. Cameron Steele at point. Rain turns, runs in and bowls down the leg side, tries to whip it on its way. Ackerman doesn't get anything on it. We feel perhaps just missed out a little bit there because long leg is very wide. Coughlin is right under the electronic scoreboard. Almost deep back, not quite. Either way, however, Ackerman didn't get anything on it, and it was taken by Eckersley. Got away with it a little bit there, Ben Rain. Turns, looks at the ball. No inspiration really to be had from it at the moment. In he goes and bowls to Ackerman, fullish and straight on middle and leg, and waited for it. Ackerman turned his wrist on it, but clipped it straight to Lees, who was at a deepish mid-on, and again, there is no run. 1 for 2 remains the score. If the game were to be drawn, both sides would take 10 points from it, having picked up just a couple of bonus points apiece from the single innings in which bonus points counted. Rain is in, bowls to Ackerman, a couple of steps down the wicket, and goodness me, smacks it straight back over the top of the stumps and just over the top of the umpire, Neil Mallander, who had to get out of the way. Sam Evans got out of the way as well to, well, as Normaliter points to his forehead, as if it would have gone straight onto his forehead had he not got out of the way, thumped into the advertising hoardings underneath the underneath the sight screen down below us. You heard the ball hit the boards.
Needs some danger money.
Rain to finish his over is in again. It's Foolish looking to drive, but without putting too much into it. Ackerman steers it just wide of Bryden. Carter has to move to his left. He does. Single taken.
There is a really horrible back cloud drifting to our way.
I'm hoping, I've been telling the listening it's going to keep drifting sort of northish up the motorway, but we'll see. 152 for 2, 140 needed from 28.1 overs. Rain into Evans, who just drops it into the leg side. Nobody close in on the leg side for Evans means it's a comfortable single. So Ben Rain with 3 dot balls will finish 4-1-1, so 6 from the over, which keeps Leicestershire in touch, so to speak. 153 for 2. Rain 1 for 32 from Viz. At the other end, Coughlin has bowled better than these figures suggest. None for 30 from 11. Unexceptional, but he's been dangerous and he's going to continue.
28 overs to go then. Coughlin to Evans. Catch it. It was along the floor all the way, I think. And it's gone down to third man for 1. It was never in the air. So 27 overs to go, just off mark. There's nothing doing with the ball or the wicket at the moment. It's not offering really much to the bowlers. I thought when they changed the ball after 25 was endeared and then fell to Ben Rain, there was a few overs around about that period where things looked a little bit different for Leicestershire as Ackerman steers this one down towards third man. But they settled back into a partnership, these two, and they've been sailing along nicely since. So
it did swing for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, but
not for long.
No.
There hasn't been anything in the wicket or game, really.
It was just the humid and overcast conditions the other day had the ball moving around a lot, didn't it? And the dark, the gloom. Coughlin in, Evans down the track 1 step, plays it back to the bowler. This partnership now is worth 86 from 160 balls, and they've got it to 73 just. So come out with a bit of haste after tea.
I guess, like you, they'll have an eye or two on the weather, but probably going to need most of these overs, that's for sure.
Yeah. Coughlin to Evans, and Evans defends, and it runs up towards mid-off.
Coughlin. Again, little sort of, I'm not sure how much of an exchange it will be. Sam Evans, is quite hard to get a word out of him at the very best of times, so whether he's one of those who talks back to bowlers who have something to say to him, I doubt.
Well, Paul Coughlin's 27 and Sam Evans is 22. It's like a 50-year having to go to first year at school, isn't it? Coughlin in again from the Bennett end, and it looked like Evans was going to leave that for a while, and he cut it late, out past point. He'll get 2 runs here. It's Burnham sliding on one knee, flicks the ball behind him to Steele, who then gets it back to the keeper.
If you see him close up, Sam Evans, and he's going on about 16. He looks still very young. Fortunate young man. Will do for a while.
Well, it'll probably be the bane of his life at the moment. He'll be being asked for ID wherever he goes to pubs.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, well, probably isn't going into pubs at the
moment. Well, yeah, they're not. Coughlin in again. It's a shortish one, and he punches it out towards mid-on for 1. And there's a throw at the stumps, and he was jogging towards the other end there, and then suddenly realised the ball was heading in his direction. He had to slide his bat in at the last second. Side on from about 20 yards away. Bryden Cost just missed the target at the bowler's end. And over 158 for 2, 134 to win from 27 overs. BBC Radio Leicester, BBC Radio Newcastle. I was still being asked for ID when I was 24, 25.
That's a good thing, I think, from your point of view.
Yeah, now I look 80. Never get asked for it anymore.
Eckersley and Rain, joined by Messrs. Cars and Lees, is it? Who's got the ball in his right hand.
Lees.
All with plenty to think about from Durham's point of view at the moment. What can we do? He's got, as you said, no spinning options really. People who could toss one or two up perhaps, but got to be, because Parkinson did turn one or two. Parkinson a proper spinner though. And well, think of that delivery of Hassan Azad's, unless it was a complete fluke. The wrong one that sharply back into Bryden Castle, albeit stayed a bit low, but maybe at that pace one or two would stay very, very low. Ben Rain's going to continue though, just with a single slip to Sam Evans on 70. Now Rain is in to Evans, drops shorts and he goes for the pull. I don't think it came off anything other than his shoulder, and it's going to run away for 4-leg buys. Fortunate for Evans. It was a decent bouncer from Rain, and he tried to sort of pull it away, and it got up and I think hit his shoulder. Now did it clip the helmet?
I think it was his helmet.
The helmet. I think it clipped the shoulder and maybe went onto the helmet. We'll have a look at the replay.
Side of the helmet.
It's going to be checked anyway, the helmet that is, rather than Evans's, and you can take the opportunity to divest himself sweater as well.
Yeah, he was trying to pull the ball and had tucked his head into his shoulders, and it's glanced off the side of the helmet where you have the grill and the plastic guard on the grill.
He did before from the other end, didn't he, against Bryden Carson? Got the ball on the end of the bat handle, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's something to work on, but he's having a word with Will Graves, the Leicestershire physio, at the moment.
It is raining across towards the motorway.
Yeah, but long may it stay over there. Two umpires just making sure that the players all headed to the gels. Maybe you have to do it any sort of break. Ackerman favours one of these sort of sweatbands worn underneath his helmet, Bjorn Borg style. I'm sure there are modern day tennis players who wear them as well. I don't know.
Probably.
They're not.
Used to get a lot of the cyclists. Pedro Delgado in the 1987 Tour de France with it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Just wear sweatbands rather. Is that before the
days
of having to wear helmets?
They didn't have to wear helmets. Was at the Tour of Lombardy the other day where they passed a point in the road where one of the professional riders had been killed, and they were saying in the commentary it was because of that.
Moving, wasn't it? Miller was talking about, because he was going uphill, he said, didn't he? And it just was an ordinary sort of tumble, if you like.
Slipped and clipped a wall, and that was when they brought it in.
It wasn't going particularly quickly. No. Wear a helmet if you cycle, for goodness sake.
Yeah, it is contentious. There's a lot of people who are anti-helmet, but I would always wear one.
Yeah. Rain to continue then to Evans. In he goes, bowls to Evans, who goes back, defends. Foolish delivery. Rain stays at having picked up the ball and looks at Evans for a minute. He looked a little bit not entirely sure there, Evans, as though he's been slightly discomforted by that previous delivery, the bouncer that went for 4 helmet buys, if you like. 162 for 2, 130 needed by the Foxes. Doesn't sound very much, but will feel like plenty. Rain into Evans, who gets a foolish ball that he plays firmly down into the ground. It bounces up towards Rain, who takes it on bounce and then shapes as though to hurl the ball at the stumps. Evans had stepped back and across, out of the way, but deep. Umpire Malander on about that previous shot from Ackerman that I think he's basically saying, had I stood still.
Isn't there one of the umpires with a big blast who has a shield or something?
Yeah, some of the Australians do, certainly. In goes Rain and bowl short again, pulled. This time he has got some bat on it, and it's just going to be the single this time as it's out towards deep backward square. Who said before long leg, so just a single. 163 for 2.
You're talking about helmets. I came off my bike once when I wasn't wearing one and did a somersault along the grass verge, and my head just missed a lamppost by about an inch. So I've worn one ever since.
Yeah. They're so light and kind of easy to wear now that it's hard to understand really people who don't. Rain is in again and turned by Ackerman, but only as far as mid-wicket. Sean Dixon finds himself out there, having been at slip for the first 2 sessions, essentially. Usually first slip, he's now at mid-wicket. David Beddingham has taken over at first slip.
My wife a few years ago got a prototype. She went and did an interview with a guy, and he'd built a mirror system in the helmet, so you could look up into your visor and see behind you.
Rain in past umpire Malander and bowls outside off stump, looking to force the ball out into the offside. He does, but not very quickly, Ackerman, and it bounces up fairly kindly for extra cover to make a comfortable stop. So 5 runs from the over, 4 of them somewhat fortuitous as far as Leicester mind that. 5 and over is what they need, 4.6 indeed to be precise. 163 for 2 means 129 needed off 26 overs.
Is that thunder? Just hear a distant rumble of thunder. That is definitely getting closer to us.
You can see rain over, well, I can see rain out there as well, but rain over to the southwest, but it might just be heading north.
Can't really afford any interruptions now in this game.
Correspondents, do let us know if you're in that
if you're
neck
at
of the
Foss
woods.
Park. If you've got to buy some clothes at Marx's or one of the shops at Foss Park, let us know. Coghlan down the hill from the Bennett end to Evans, who fends on off one-handed, and it goes towards point. Yeah, the helmet with the mirror system in it, the guy had spent years developing them. It was like a periscope system they had inside it. It's quite interesting.
I'm guessing it hasn't caught on because I'm
in 2
minutes. A shame.
We ended up, I think we sold it at a car boot sale in Ripon or something like that many years later.
Good afternoon. Dr. Dan has been is with us today.
Cullen comes in and bowls, and this is played off towards mid-wicket. No run there. Had an email from him yesterday. He'd drawn some pictures. He's done photographs I'd taken at the ground yesterday.
Again, Evans just starting to look a bit twitchy. He's got his strike rate up to 45.
He's faced 155 balls, and a short one there from Coghlan. I'd love to know what he's saying to him now, because Evans stepped back as if he was going to pull that hard over deep mid-wicket, and then just basically played it like the forward tennis, one-handed tennis shot, didn't he?
Stopped in the pitch, didn't it?
Down
again,
in the ground.
By the time it arrived, he just sort of swatted it down on the offside. And Coghlan told him what for.
Coghlan into the stumps and bowls, and again he's going for a shortish length, Coghlan, and it means that the batsman's got to get up on his toes to get on top of it. He's
trying too hard, Evans, to get on with it. Just needs to kind of keep playing the same way. Ackerman will play the big shots if required. But he's kind of all over the place all of a sudden, really.
Coghlan in again, bowls, and that is pulled out through the square leg area for 1. Bit of a pirouette type of shot there from Evans. He jogs up the other end.
Again, though, he's backing away, wasn't he? Trying to make room for him, trying to make things happen, and I'm not entirely sure that's needed. But it's working. He's sort of working for him at the moment. Talking to Nick Cook at the moment, he's probably just saying, calm down, man.
Hard work for the Durham bowlers this, to try and get something going here. 128 more needed for Leicestershire at 164 for 2. Ackerman on strike. Plays a ball from Coghlan up to mid-on. There was quite a bit of dust came up there as he met it on the shoulder. There's a dot ball, and that is the end of the over. So the required rate is 4 point. The run rate at the moment is 3. And this... Is that thunder, do you think? Or the breeze. So. 55 overs gone, so 25 overs left. The target, remember, 292 set this morning off 82 overs. The only men to go so far, Azad for 19 before lunch, and Dearden was the only wicket in the afternoon session for 23.
Rain, 14 overs, 1 for 33 to continue from the Bennett end to bowl to Evans, who waits with bat raised. Rain is in, bowls to him, he hits him over the top. He took a couple of steps down, it bounces once, twice, thrice, and over the ropes at long off. I'm not entirely certain he got all that, but he got plenty of it and cleared mid off and picks up 4. Well, 4 off the first ball should make him feel a little bit better. All that's needed, well, he was batting outside his crease because the Durham 12th man, Chris Rushworth, I think, recognised that particular hate Running on with a helmet for Ned Eckersley, who's going to stand up to the stumps now for Evans and Rain. Evans on to 76 now. Rain is in past umpire Malander and Bowles, and they're backing away a little bit. Evans again trying to make space for himself, as though he sort of wants to drive through the offside. Rain followed him, and he had to just bunt it out into the onside, and there was no run. He's doing a wonderful job, Evans, but he's not making a convincing case for a place in the T20 side at the moment, bless his heart. But I would imagine that Gareth Delaney will open the batting for the Foxes in that competition now, which starts, you said, next week?
Next Thursday for Durham.
Thursday. Yeah. In goes Rain. Bowls to Evans, who drives, gets a thick outside edge through gully. There is no gully, just a slip. Runs down to third man, single taken. So 6 in the first 3 balls of the over, 169 for 2.
Back to our traditional groups, haven't we? If you think back to when T20 first started in 2003. So Warwickshire, Northampton, Worcestershire played in a Midlands group, didn't they? This was as far south as Durham. This is as far south as Durham came.
Rain into Ackerman, outside off stump, slashed away down to third man, who's going to have to work hard to stop it, and work hard he does. Super job down there by Matt Salisbury, as Marty says, and a fine stop. Saves 2 runs, flung himself to his left and made the stop. Ackerman on to 42, 171 for 2, 8 from the first 4 balls of the over.
Yeah, the first year of the T20 in 2003, you only played each side once, so there were only 5 matches per team, and it was gradually expanded to home and away.
Rain in again to Ackerman, drags it back his length, but Ackerman stands up tall, steers it out towards Salisbury, who overthrows Eckersley, but Dixon backing up means there are no overthrows, just the single. Ackerman on to 43. 9 off the 8 off the over so far. 172 for 2. 120 needed from 24.1 overs. Sunshine at the Fisher County ground as in comes Rain to finish his over. Bowls to Evans, who turns it neatly and times it well, but only as far as Dixon, who is at mid-wicket. End of the over. 8 from it. More than enough as far as Leicestershire are concerned, and Ben Rain just slaps his left thigh in a gesture of annoyance. 56 overs then have been bowled, 24 remain, 120 needed, 4.6 the run rate, 8 wickets in hand, and that heavy grey cloud continues to drift ominously close, but it is moving. From Leicestershire and the game's point of view, it is sort of moving tolerably quickly. It's probably about a mile and a half, 2 miles away to the sort of west at the moment.
Coghlan running in from the Bennett end to Ackerman. It's a bouncer down the leg side, which the batsman leaves well alone.
1 for the over, says umpire Cook. Martin Brunt remembers when helmets first appeared in bike racing, much the same as cricket. First wear was ridiculed, but it soon became compulsory.
Coghlan bowls, and that's hammered away for 4 through the covers. It was short of a length and wide of off stump, and bang! Ackerman has sent him packing with that delivery.
Gary Bailey's got thunder and bright skies in Glen Parva. Strange times. They are strange times.
Well, I turned 18 in 1989, and my nana and granddad bought me a helmet for my birthday. And I remember wearing it for
batting or cycling?
Cycling. And I remember wearing it in a time trial, a local cycling club, and quite a lot of the lads took the mick. In comes Coghlan, that's gone down towards third man from Ackerman. Lees chases it off the pavilion boundary, and it is 2. He's a bit slow in picking the ball up there. I don't think he got it cleanly. 114 to win as long as this partnership continues here. We're wondering if they're going to be on the end of their third defeat in a row in this year's competition. One wicket could change the whole look of this game.
For sure.
178 for 2. Ackerman's on 49. And Coghlan bowls and he plays that out into the covers. It's a dot ball. So far this season Ackerman's he's had 50 times 50s in all.
Yeah, correct.
1700s. 128th first class game, and he came into this with 8,056 runs.
94 and 73, and he was run out on 94. He was run out by his own player. Tom Taylor called him through for a second that was never there.
Coghlan in bowls. It's down the leg side. That's going to be the 50. Just a simple little push off to long leg for 1, and Ackerman gets there 93 balls.
Well judged.
And looking at his recent scores as well, he's against Durham he made 56 in Chester Street in 2019, 62 in Leicestershire last year, and then he got half centuries in both matches in the T20 against Durham last year as well. How many boundaries does that come in? 7 fours.
Oh, Evans is squared up there by that bouncer and just manages to keep it off his nose, and it pops up, and again Coghlan telling him what for. Survives. 77, end of the over. Now they continue to thrive. They've moved on to 179, still just 4-2. The captain, Colin Ackerman, has just gone to his 50 off 93 balls, included 7 fours, and young Sam Evans. It's been a funny sort of innings, but he has battled away brilliantly. He's on 77 not out off 163 balls. 57 overs of the innings gone then, just 23 remain. They need another 113 runs at under 5 and over. If the weather stays dry, they should do it. End of the over, so you didn't miss any cricket if you were listening online. Eckersley, helmet off, is turning to a little bit of part-time spin. Is that fair to say part-time spin of Cameron Steele?
Yeah, it is. He won't have bowled many overs at all, Cameron Steele, over the years. He's I haven't got his bowling figures down to the point where he's hardly bowled any.
Well, when you find them, in the meantime I can tell you that the T20 squad, the men's T20 squad has been named. No surprises, I don't think. Lewis Gregory from Somerset is in it. Chris Jordan. Yeah, pretty much as expected. Banton as well, of course. In goes Steele, bowls, and that was it the wrong one, or does he bowl like that normally? But that one just turned back in. It was a leggy, but it turned back into the right-handed Evans, who jumped back and shoveled it rather out to mid-wicket. In goes Steele, outside off stump and full, and driven away hard by Ackerman. It's going to be just a single because there is cover in the form of the substantial form of Bride and Cars out there on the cover boundary. Ackerman on to 51. Reserves: Pat Brown, Liam Livingston, Reece Topley. T20 squad.
His best bowling 2 for 7 in a rain-affected and gloomy game at Cardiff in 2018.
He's brought Coghlan in from deep square to backward square. Comes in and bowls to Evans. Again, it's the wrong one. Spins back into his turn out there. That Azad delivery was no fluke. It was a fluke that it went onto the wickets, but there was turn. In he goes again. Steele tosses it up outside off stump, goes for the drive, Evans, but slaps it hard down into the ground, and it just bounces back comfortably for Steele. There's no run. Mid-on, who was sort of halfway back, goes back to long on. Just a single from the first 4 balls so far. Steele is in again. He makes it into a full toss and he's driven it away for 4. He took a couple of steps down the wicket, Evans, and actually he raises his eyes to the heavens in relief there, Sam Evans. I think he was so relieved to get one through there. He advanced down the wicket. Steele I didn't see him coming or couldn't adjust. Tossed it up, made it into a full toss essentially, Evans, and got it all between extra cover and rain at mid-off, and that's 4 to Evans. He moves on to 81, 184 for 2. Steele in again, bowls, drops a little bit short, and back goes Evans and punches it away off the back foot out into the deep cover area. Cast comes in off the ropes, single taken. So in the end, 6 off the over, which is pretty much what Leicestershire needed. But enough turn there to probably make Eckersley and Durham think, rats, I wish we had a proper spinner.
Yeah, they're a bit weak in that department, aren't they?
185 for 2, 22 overs remain, 107 needed by Leicestershire. And can I feel a spot of rain on? No? No, that was just the breeze, perhaps. Might be a spot on the... Can't see anything on the windows. I'm getting paranoid.
Coghlan to continue down the hill here, bowling to Evans. Oh, and it's a wider short ball, and Evans clubs it into the ground, bottom corner of the bat. He's reaching a long way out there and plays it down to the keeper.
His body language is very revealing. You can tell instantly how he's feeling after each shot.
Coghlan in. Oh, Evans is tucked up a little bit there, plays it short mid wicket. Who's that gone there? That's the wrong scorecard. Sean Dixon. Coghlan with another effort ball, and it's pulled hard, but one-handed by Evans to Carson. Right, went first-class matches, 20 wickets.
20? That's
yeah.
Not bad.
Best bowling in a match, 4 for 99. Economy rate 4.47. Coghlan to Evans. Evans pulls that one out towards deep square leg for 1 run. Gareth Hart's out there. Very shortly, the target for Leicester is going to be down below 100. This partnership now is worth 117 for the 3rd wicket. Azad was bowled by Bryden Cast for 19 and deared an LBW to Ben Rain for 23. That was at the 26th over. We're now in the 59th. Ackerman on strike on 51 as Coghlan bowls. It's a short one down the leg side, and it's pulled for 4 past fine leg, running round towards long leg Ben Rain. Not the best of balls from Coghlan. There's no pace in the pitch really, to be pitching them short down the leg side.
It does sit up a little bit.
At the minute, you just can't see where a wicket's coming from a Durham perspective, but
3 dot balls to start the over, but 5 from the last 2.
Ackerman's on 55 from 96 balls. Coghlan bowls, that's short as well, and that's cut hard down towards 3rd man. And Paul Coghlan sinks to his knees and looks a rather disconsolate figure. None for 52 now from 15 overs, and they're going to have to think about something else from the bed end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him really, because just the last couple of overs haven't been great, but he bowled much better. He's bowled much better than his figures suggest. People would look at it and say 15 overs, none for 52, but could easily have had a couple. Less than 100, 98 now needed by Leicestershire to win from 21 overs, 8 wickets in hand. Cameron Steele into Sam Evans, who goes back to a ball that bounces and turns back towards him. Rashid does this sometimes, doesn't he? He just bowls a series of googlies essentially, rather than, he sometimes spins that more almost than his sort of conventional leg spinner. Get my feet tangled up there. In goes Steele, bowls and tries to hit over the top. Is he stumped? Eckersley thought so, but his back foot, his back toe was just anchored according to umpire Nick Cook, and Evans just replaces the bails. Eckersley takes the decision philosophically as Steele is in. Bowls again to Evans, who tries to hit over the top. He's just got it wide of Ben Rain, who went down in stages there. He's going to pick up a couple. Rain was so desperate to get to the ball on the full, he sort of almost went down on one knee, but he was always going to be short of it, but he still dived. It was curious. 2 to Evans, who moves on to 85. You can see him spooning one up before too long off camera and Steele. Maybe Ackerman's had a word, just saying, just push one, it's okay. Steele in, he's going to make that into a full toss, and he's hit it straight to mid-on. Oh, absolutely rank full toss that should have been put somewhere up here, to be quite honest. We should have caught that, and Evans slapped it straight to Alex Lees at mid-on. So the young man's effort comes to an end. His helmet is on the back of his head, but he can be proud of himself. I think comfortably his highest score for Leicestershire. He's made 85 off 174 balls, and has sent Leicestershire on their way to what should be, weather permitting, a victory, but still plenty of work to do. 196 for 3.
Well, I said there was nothing doing a couple of overs ago, but they changed things around. They've brought Steele in, and as he said, he's going to spoon one up. But I mean, it was a full toss, wasn't it?
It was an awful ball, but it should have clubbed that.
He's not caught that in the meat. It's come off the lower part of the bat, and he's just put it straight to Lees. Didn't have to move.
No.
110 partnership end.
That height as well, you would have thought, to be clubbed away. But sometimes happens with full tosses. 127 off 202 balls, the partnership for the third wicket. But as I say, he can be pretty proud of his efforts in the circumstances, I think.
George Rhodes, the new batsman.
He made 85 off 175 balls, I beg your pardon. And he hit 9 fours. In goes Steele, bowls to Rhodes, who goes back to a delivery that again just comes back into him a touch. And there is no run as he strokes it back down the wicket. Former Worcestershire man. In goes Steele. Again, a little bit of turn. That was a conventional leg spinner. Came off the outside edge, squirted down towards backward point. Rhodes was interested in a single. Ackerman wasn't, wisely. So a good over from Cameron Steele. We've been saying for a while that it must be worth a few overs of spin. You never quite know. And Steele has obliged. He's got 1 for 8 from 2 overs. And Leicestershire are 196 for 3 now. They need another 96 runs to win from 20 overs. 7 wickets in hand.
It's Coughlin you here. This is they're going to bring Carson. I said it was time for a change, and
yeah,
he looked forlorn in his previous over, Coughlin.
Well, he's gone back to his strike bowler to some extent, Eckersley. See if he can get the new man. Bang bang, as the cricketers say.
Cast then to Ackerman, comes in and bowls. Ackerman leaves the first ball, it's through to the keeper, bounces off him as he ends up falling on the floor there. There's no slips in place. Well, the third man, a man with a point injury. Cover mid off and do on the behind square on the leg side. On the 45 and at deep square leg, deep backward square leg. Cast bowls, Ackerman turns that down to Ben Rain at fine leg for 1. So the wicket fell. There were 20 overs left, weren't there?
Just over here, yeah. 20.1 or something like that.
Rhodes on strike, third ball that he's faced. He pushes it to point, no run there.
Could you get tasty, you know? Get very tasty if that little lot comes over here, but that little lot being heavy grey cloud and what looks like rain away to the west.
Here comes the bowler. And Rhodes pulls that down into the ground and it just trickles out in towards short mid-wicket to Gareth Hart. It was a shortish ball outside off stump. Derek Allen says hello again. We're at home and the game on. 9 days walked and it all ends in Sunderland. He said, I told you I would walk to yours 2 years ago from Dunbar. And so far they've raised £1,400 for the Trussell Trust. In comes, oh, Cars, that's a cracking ball, and at the last second there, Rhodes just pulls the bat in the line, inside the line of the delivery as it races past off stump. So he said, most of it, sadly, has been in the rain. Footprints for others all the way, Marty, he says, well done. Derek and Ellie, I think they were on the breakfast show on Radio Newcastle this morning as well. Been doing about 12-13 miles a day. And they've promised themselves a big ice cream on the seafront when they reach Roker tomorrow afternoon.
Well, they've earned one, that's for sure.
Cast to Rhodes, and he just guides that nicely. Soft hands down towards third man for one, and gets himself off the mark with the sixth delivery he's faced.
All of a sudden, we can see the players' shadows from the floodlights, in indication that a dark cloud is heading in our direction. There is rain in it. Can see the rain away to our right.
Looks heavy across to the west of us, doesn't it?
Would be cruel if it were to come in.
It would leave us in a position of you just never know. Would be a shame having commentated all day today.
And Rain is going to go back to Ben Rain. Well, surely. Well, that's a little tough, I would suggest.
Have a go at George Rhodes?
Yeah. Steele. They'd have to go for Steele again a little bit, and might just pick up another wicket or two. But Eckersley has indeed gone back to Ben Rain. 15 overs, 1 for 41 for Ben. But as Marty says, he's got the new man to bowl at, George Rhodes. In he goes and bowls to Rhodes. He's batting a long way outside his crease, steps forward.
Keeper spotted that, looks going to get the helmet.
Yeah, and just ends it out into the off. He was good, 6 inches outside his crease, batting George Rhodes. So Eckersley does indeed run up to the stumps. And 98 for 3. Just the 2 runs added since the loss of Sam Evans. Eckersley's changed his mind. He's going to head back. Maybe Ben Rain doesn't like it, and he's going to keep wicket capless as well as helmetless. In goes Rain and bowls to Rhodes, who drives and half stopped by Steele, diving to his left. But they are going to pick up 2 runs, Leicestershire, because he slowed it down but couldn't do more than that really. Salisbury completed the fielding in slowing it down the way he did. Salisbury running up from third man to deep backward point. Picks up. Rhodes picks up a couple, moves on to 3. 200 up for Leicestershire, 200 for 3. 92 to win from 18.4 overs. It's raining like heck away to the west. In goes Rain and bowls on off stump. Rhodes forward, defending it calmly out to extra cover, and there is no run. I won't be surprised if that's the noise of the rain in the distance. It's weather, it just drifts by to the north.
You can hear the starlings up on the towers, the lighting towers. They tend to come and sit back up there when the weather's going to close in, don't they?
Rain is in again to Rhodes. Bowls full, but a little bit of shape to it, and Rhodes defends it off stump. Back down the pitch to Ben Rain, and there is no run. Rate has crept up to 5 now. It was at sort of 4.7, 4.6 for much of the chase, but it is, as I say, beginning to creep up now, and it is at 5.
taking an awful long time to get across here, that cloud system. It's not moving very quickly at all.
It isn't. Rain is in again to Rhodes, who shuffles down the pitch and tries to deflect it out behind point, but it goes more or less straight to Steele, who runs, picks up on the run, and again there is no. So 11 balls face for George Rhodes now. Ackerman under too much pressure to score. Happy to give Rhodes a single now off the last ball. Durham and Eckersley would rather get him out, of course, but a single will be fine. He's just struggling to get the ball away. I think it's difficult for a batsman who's new to the crease to read the pace of the pitch, or lack thereof. Rain is in again. 2 Rhodes just drifts on to leg stump, and that single is duly taken. Out to deep mid-wicket, who comes in and underarms the ball. Burnham, I mentioned him many times. The ball hasn't been following Mr. Bird particularly. He underarms the ball to Paul Coughlin. It is the end of the over. 201 for 3. 18 overs remain. 91 needed. Rate required 5.1. Ackerman and Rhodes have a long conversation. Rhodes has kept the strike, which is not necessarily a good thing as far as the Foxes' run chase is concerned. Creeping closer, you know that rain. Cast to continue from the Bennett end.
2 slips back in place now, short leg as well. Right arm over. That's a bouncer to Rhodes, it ducks out of that one.
Decent one.
Yeah. Was bowled with some pace today. Bryden Carse was recently with the England one-day setup, toured Australia with the Lions in the winter. Didn't make the cut in the end for the one-day series against Ireland. Rhodes on strike, and that's pulled into the ground and away through deep mid-wicket for 4. He's picked that up around about off stump. Nice shot.
Yeah, it wasn't short enough, was it, if you wanted to bounce him again? Sat up kindly. Was a nice shot, calmly played.
Yeah, it was short of a length, but it didn't have much bounce in it. It was about hip height as it came in. Puts Cameron Steele in the firing line. I think if you suggesting that maybe Bryden Carse doesn't bowl there in future. 205 for 3, 87 to win Leicestershire. Carse in again. Rhodes guides the ball down to third man for 1. Well, the floodlights really are now illuminating this scene here with this huge black cloud over us, and the umpires are having a chat. I think they've just recently had a light meter out. They're going to come again, and there's clearly big shadows from the floodlights. There's 4 shadows on each person, like a cross following them all around.
Whether he's giving, let's have a look.
Yeah, they've got the light meter out now. Neil Malander has it on the bails. They're going to stay out there for the time being.
I think it has been darker. The shadows, you can see them, but they're not as delineated as they have been in the past. Maybe soon.
Yeah. Carse into Ackerman. Ackerman defends on a length on off stump and plays the ball back to the bowler. I think in a few minutes he's going to be absolutely down. But he's just slowly encroaching, and has been for about the last 45 minutes. This whole cloud system's just bubbling up, and it's gradually closed in around us to the south and the west.
Absolute sheet of grey. Unbroken grey away to the west.
Carse in again, well wide of off stump and left well alone. 86 needed to win from 17.2 overs.
Ackerman clearly thinks it's a signal wide, and Nick Cook is explaining to him it wasn't. Oh, he says it's got to be outside the white line. This is red ball cricket, not white ball cricket.
I think one of the things is it's because of how far across Ned Eckersley was when he took that. The field's cut into sort of 10 metre wide strips, and he was in the next shade of grass That one's more closer to the stumps. That's collected by Eckersley. What's going to happen here? Umpire's having a word with Brydencross about something as he walks past. Neil Mallander's getting his light meter out again, I think, for the stumps at the near end. He tested them at the far end the last time. He just puts them on the bales. There's a word with Nick Cook.
Happy enough at the moment.
They're happy enough.
Happy is a relative term.
I do have a light meter on my phone.
Do you?
Yeah.
Have you got to taken a measurement when they first came off, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah. Just I know Durham, where normally when it gets to below, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. When it gets down about 3, that's when they normally go off.
86 off 17 is the equation. 7 wickets in hand as Ben Rain runs in from the pavilion end and bowls to George Rhodes, slightly short of a length on off stump. Rhodes gets up on his toes, forces into the offside, but can't get it past extra cover.
In a scientific manner, it's between 300 and 400 at the moment, looks, so 300's where they normally go off.
And there is no run. 206.43. 60 to Colin Ackerman. What are we doing for time? Ooh, coming towards the top of the hour. Thought there hadn't been an update for a while. In goes Rain and bowls to Rhodes, who is forward to a length, half forward to a length delivery on off stump, just dropping it out to point. And again, no run. Nick Cook stares up with and indeed Neil Mallander likewise at the grey cloud that is drifting towards us and has been for some little time. Martin suggests it is already raining. I'm just looking at the puddles behind us on the roof. Barely, not enough certainly to take the players off. Rain in again to Rhodes, who's forward again, and thick outside edge out to backward point, and there is no run. Showing no great signs of urgency, the Leicestershire batsman. The rate required ticks up to 5.2. 9 off 18 for George Rhodes, 60 off 102 for Colin Ackerman. 206 for 3, 86 needed, 3 dot balls in the over so far. In goes Ben Rain and bowls outside of stump, just dabbed down towards third man by George Rhodes. Single is going to be taken, the first run off the over. Welcome to listeners to BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. Possibly a really fascinating denouement to a very badly weather-hit game here at the Fisher County Ground. Leicestershire need another 85 runs to win from 16.2 overs with 7 wickets, 7 second innings wickets in hand. I've just had a message from BBC Radio Leicester to the effect that it is bucketing down in the city centre away to the north, but that means that particular shower might just have missed us. In goes Rain and bowls to Ackerman, who plays it straight back past him through a very straight mid-on down to long on, picked up by Alex Lees. At long on, a single is taken. Just somehow at the moment, the rain is just drifting either side of the Fisher County Ground. It is a little bit dark, and the players are casting shadows from the floodlights which have been on for some little time. But just at the moment, the umpires doing their best to keep them out there. Here comes the rain, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming down now. On come the covers. So, well, it would be highly frustrating if this game, it's raining hard now, if this game were to be lost to the weather after the captains made a fantastic effort to contrive a finish, essentially. This morning we had Durham declaring their first innings. They were 250 for 7 overnight. 291 for 8 when they declared. The target was 292 off 82 balls. Rumble of thunder in the background. They forfeited, well, Durham having declared, Leicestershire forfeited their first innings. Durham forfeited their second innings, setting 292 off 82 balls, and Leicestershire on a pretty benign track, it has to be said, with the weather being kind, have made pretty uninterrupted progress, really serene progress almost. They did lose the wickets of Hassan Azad, who was bowled by Brydencross for 19 before lunch, 34 for 1. 60 for 1 at lunch. Harry Dearden went soon afterwards, leg before wicket to his former Leicestershire teammate Ben Rainford. 23 made the score 69 for 2. 105 for 2 of 42 overs. There was a little rain break then. 142 for 2 off 142 for 2 at tea. Needed 150 off 31 overs at that stage. They did lose the wicket of Sam Evans, caught by Alex Lees off the bowling of Cameron Steele for 85. 196 for 3. It is raining hard now here though at the Fisher County Ground. How long it will be with us I'm not sure. I can see blue sky where the weather has been coming from. It's whether it gets to us quickly enough to prevent sufficient damage for the ground staff to be able to clear it up and for us to have these final few overs. 16.1 overs remain. 84 Leicestershire need to win. You'd imagine that they would fancy themselves to do that, but are they going to get the chance to do that? Some of the Leicestershire coaching staff are running out to help the ground staff, who are getting thoroughly soaked, I might add, in this heavy rain. So we will be back with you at the Fisher County Ground if and when we get more play. Fingers crossed we do. Radio 5 Live Sports Extra has understandably left us in the circumstances, but it's actually already slowing down, so we might be lucky. We'll be back with you to let you know as soon as we possibly can. Well, it was, but it's raining hard all of a sudden here at the Fisher County Ground. I don't think it'll be raining for too long, and fingers crossed it isn't, because Leicestershire are on 208 for 3, needing, as you say, that target of 292. They need just another 84 runs off 16.1 overs. With 7 wickets in hand, it's the sort of target they would back themselves to reach, especially with the captain at the crease. Colin Ackerman is 61 not out. The question is the weather going to relent sufficiently quickly? All the Leicestershire coaching staff are out there helping the ground staff put out the covers to try and prevent too much damage. That tells you how keen they are to get back out there. At the moment, however, it's raining heavily, with Leicestershire on 208 for 3. it's this bit there, this corner bit there, but it's spoiling it now. I mean, look, that ball's sitting. So I had a tweet 5 minutes ago. Yeah, that's the same.
Shaking hands here, yes.
Well folks, the rain has stopped. It did rain hard though for a good 10-15 minutes. Out comes the blotter. How quickly can Leicestershire's ground staff get this mopped up and make the umpires feel there's a possibility? We are surely going to lose some overs. 84 needed at the moment of 16.1. Under normal circumstances they would fancy their chances, Leicestershire, of doing this in some comfort. Out comes the blotter, and groundsman Andy Ward is now talking to the two umpires Nick Cook and Neil Mander. Durham skipper Ned Eckersley has wandered out. He's still got the top part of his whites on. He's got blue tracksuit bottoms on instead, though. Colin Ackerman's come out with his pads on, and George Rhodes is with him. So the two not-out batsmen are out there. You'd think they're ready to restart their innings. In fact, there are still plenty of covers on out there, and there's plenty of water actually on the single cover that was put out there. Nick Cook and Neil Mander now looking at the square, the part that wasn't covered, and seeing just how bad the damage has been. The ground is bathed in sunshine now, and there's no sign whatsoever of any more rain in the foreseeable future. So it's just how long it's going to take Leicestershire's ground staff to clear this, and what the rules are as to the timing, as to whether overs will be lost or the game will be given up on altogether. There's lots of standing around out there with hands on hips. Ackerman and Nixon and the head coach and his assistant Dips Patel out there at the moment, waiting for word from the umpires, essentially. At the moment there's no sign of the blotter being actually used. They've got it in position, Leicestershire, but they're waiting for word from the umpires. The covers that actually didn't have time to put out, they were brought on, but they're being taken off now. And Andy Ward's had an instruction from the umpires, and he's marching purposefully towards what? Bright sunshine, hot sunshine here at the Fisher County ground now. So much so that coats and overcoats and raincoats are being shed. Ned Eckersley's standing point to trying to make a point by sort of poking his feet dubiously at the used pitches where the rain has fallen. Neil Mander's looking at his watch. Andy Ward is climbing onto the blotter now. So they've had word to do some blotting, whatever. You can hear it starting up. Let us hope it starts. It does. So they're going to give it a certain amount of time. At least the umpires. They haven't sort of said no, there's no chance. They can quickly, I mean, there was a little bit of surface water from the runoffs, but that has quickly been absorbed. There goes the blotter down up and down the sort of used pitches on the square, just to take off any excess moisture. Ned Eckersley gesturing away, saying, there's no way we can get back out here, surely. Pointing at the blotter going up and down. Neil Mander is saying, just hang on a sec, just hang on a sec. Ned Eckersley is gesturing away here. Neil Mander is just saying, calm down, and Colin Ackerman is walking over now to add his sixpennyworth. If Eckersley's going to make a point, so too is Ackerman. Well, they're going to let the blotter go up and down a little while and see what happens. See what the... No, don't come and talk to us, says Neil Mander to Colin Ackerman, and indeed Ned Eckersley. So they've heard what the two captains have had to say. They don't want to hear any more. They're going to have to put that blotter over the cover that's on the left of the cover of the pitch, as I look out from the commentary box. They're not giving up on this. That's the first point to make from the umpires. It is 5:15, and it is glorious here now at the Fisher County ground. But that 10-minute rainstorm might just have kiboshed Leicestershire. The umpires are standing with arms folding, watching the blotter go up and down. Out comes another hand-pushed blotter, just to go up the edges of the square, perhaps on the sort of run-ups around just the edges of where the covers normally are. That's being pushed by one of the assistant ground staff to mop up some of the worst of the puddles that are actually on the covers at the moment. That might be an issue. They are doing their best to get the water off as quickly as they can, get the worst of the puddles off. Paul Nixon is actually helping the ground staff by picking up the edges of the covers to make sure none runs off the covers and goes in a nice puddle so we can pick it all up. Hard work pushing that manually. There's plenty of water on it though. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Ackerman has his hands on his hip. He looks so frustrated, Colin Ackerman, because he was taking Leicestershire, guiding Leicestershire to victory without really too many problems. But whatever happens, I would assume we'll lose overs here. Try and keep you informed as we go along. The manual blotter is now full and is being wheeled off. Going to have to be emptied. And I think they use a little sort of hose thing and put it down a drain. One of the ground staff on his knees taking the cover off. They're going to need the hose. Oh, you need a little sort of hooky, a metal hook thing, which has been used to prise the little square off the drain. The cover, that is. Can we get a hose, says Paul Nixon, from the cover to the... No, I don't see how. It's been emptied, the manual blotter. The big mechanical blotter is just sort of going up and down the square where there isn't any obvious moisture, but it's where the umpires have told Andy Ward, the Leicestershire groundsman, to run it up and down. There's plenty of running around going on out there. Gonna get this other cover off, or at least in part. Maybe use the blotter to mop up the water as it comes off that other cover. Ed Eckersley's still out there. Ackerman is still out there talking to George Rhodes. Paul Nixon is out there. Hands plunged in pockets. Now they're letting the water run off the cover into the path, directly into the path of the mechanical blotter, which whips it all up straight away. Dips Patel too is lifting the cover, Nixon likewise. Extraordinary scenes here at the Fisher County ground. Try and get a picture of Leicestershire. Staff desperately blotting, I'll tweet that picture out, or desperately helping to clear the covers. Now, the umpires are wandering across to talk, perhaps to talk to Ned Eckersley. Let us see. I'm actually having to put my sunglasses on, it's so bright and sunny out there. Umpire Malander is walking across to talk to Paul Nixon. Umpire Cook is talking to Eckersley and the Durham coaching staff. The mechanical blotter is at the boundary at the moment, pumping out what water it has picked up from the covers. One more session with the mechanical blotter on the covers and it'll be ready to come off, I think. The manual blotter is being pushed up and down it as well to try and reduce the volume of water on it. It will dry quickly and it will drain quickly. Will it dry and drain quickly enough? Paul Nixon running over to Andy Ward, who is still pumping water away out of his blotter towards the geary bar. What will be the word? Umpire Cook gesturing away at the blue skies. Really, it is set absolutely fair if they get back out there, and it is a big if. Paul Nixon runs across to have a word with umpire Malander, who's walking on one of the used strips on the edge of the square. Nixon sort of almost has taken control of operations out there, gesturing away. Back comes the mechanical blotter. The cover, the flat cover, sheet cover, is being pulled back away from the cover over the pitch. Nixon grabs part of it. Dips Patel, assistant coach, grabs part of it. They pull it across.
Problem you're going to have here is the loss of overs, isn't it? And they've been
I assume so.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it could come down to sort of 80 off 5, couldn't it, or something daft like that.
Well, there were 16 left. They've been off nearly half an hour. You're playing 15 overs in an hour, so.
Well, if the last hour started
you're losing
at
7.
5.
Well, they never signalled it yet, did they? Because
no.
They can't signal the last hour until they get to 15 overs to go.
So the cover is being taken off with water on it. Bless them. They've folded it in half and they've taken it right away from the square, so that when they pull it all the way back, the water will come off it, but well away from the square, I assume. There it is. And then they'll run the... not much, in fairness. There really isn't too much. And they'll run the blotter over it. It's soaked in practically already.
Well, put it this way, I don't think Durham are going to take 7 wickets
no,
in half an hour's play.
It's either going to be a draw or a crazy Leicestershire win.
I can see why Leicestershire would want to get out there again, but I'm not sure they've got enough time. And it's difficult to judge whether they were still in the belief they could go for the win when they were out there when the rain came.
They weren't playing with particular urgency, were they? I mean, I think they thought they had it under control, and it was still only about 5.2 when they came off the required rate.
I don't think a draw suits anybody, but I mean,
No.
Durham aren't going anywhere in this tournament anyway this year, but
it just seems a bit cruel that having got to this far, for the two captains to have made such a good game of it, that weather should have the final say in the end.
No doubt there'll be a few naysayers around the country laughing at the irony of this, and those who complained about the forfeiture of innings earlier today.
It's hard to imagine anybody whinging, you know.
There will always be people who will find something to whinge about in life.
Yeah, I guess. It's gorgeous here now. Just
It's
perfect.
too hot now.
Yeah. They can't play because the sun is in their eyes.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that's not the case. Well, all the covers other than that on the pitch are now pretty much dealt with. The Leicestershire coaching staff learning new skills all the time. They're folding up covers. Remember when Warwickshire were closing in on the title, oh heaven knows when, quite a long time ago, and remember all their players running out to help the coaching staff take covers off.
It was about 2012, I think.
I think it was before then, to be honest.
Was it?
Wait, what was that? Well, having said that, that's 10 years ago. So,
Yeah.
So.
I know Ian Blackwell left Durham, didn't he? And he had a month.
Time ago.
He had a month or two loan at Warwickshire and helped them win the title.
A long time ago. I can hear Nick Cook or somebody shouting, but I don't know who it is. So Ackerman still padded up,
two
talking
skippers
to
are out,
Eckersley. Eckersley. Oh, they're talking golf or cricket, presumably, judging by the actions that are going on out there. But there was a brief period when Eckersley was pointing and gesturing away to the umpires who were saying, and Neil Mander was going, just calm down, calm down. I think he felt it wasn't going to be readily playable. But they have pretty much cleared it up now, and they can get the covers off the pitch, see if any damage has been done in that respect. Off goes the last of the sheets, pretty much being dragged by the tractors, or a tractor. The blotter seems, it is coming back. I thought it was heading off for a minute there, but he's working away off the square at the moment, but heading back onto it now. I think they're going to get back out there. The question is,
this is going to be that South Africa run chase against England in the 1992 World Cup.
From having needed 84 off 16.1, what will it be?
Well, half an hour, they're not back out there yet.
Another 10 minutes at least, isn't it?
Umpires are still looking at areas that they feel probably need mopping up around where the covers have been, and they only did actually cover one side of the square, didn't they?
Yeah, they couldn't get the other one out before the rain had stopped, but so much fell in that sort of 8 to 10 minutes.
I remember at Swansea in 2017, and they'd packed the covers away in a van on the final afternoon, and this rainstorm came in just before lunch, and by the time they got the covers out of the van again and got them back onto the field, it was about 2 or 3 hours of the match disappeared.
They packed them in the van with a view to taking them away, or was that where they lived, sort of?
No, well, I think they were about to drive them back up to Cardiff. It was the final afternoon.
Oh. I bet a few rollickings were handed out. Well, off come the pitch covers. Nick Cook saying, I want this area mopped, which is sort of on the edge of where the covers were.
Well, Ned Eckersley's in his training bottoms. He's not got his whites on anymore.
No, he changed sort of straight away. go. Are they attached, those two? Manual blotter being used on one of the cuts. Oh, a little update coming from BBC Radio Leicester. Yeah, absolutely. The last of the covers are now coming off. The Leicestershire head coach Paul Nixon, the assistant coach Dips Patel, they were all out there helping the ground staff clear the covers. The two umpires are out there. The question is, Martin, how many overs have been lost? We don't know yet. The umpires have yet to decide when we can restart. The equation when they went off were that Leicestershire on 208 for 3 needed 84 more of 16.1 overs with 7 wickets in hand. Colin Ackerman at the crease on 61 not out, George Rhodes on 10 not out. They were doing it in some comfort, but they won't be doing it in some comfort anymore. They are going to get back out there. The question is, how many overs have been lost? If there's been, let's say, 8 overs lost, all of a sudden that equation is going to come down to 84 off 8.1, and that is going to be tricky in the extreme. But the umpires haven't decided yet. Neil Mallender and Nick Cook, former Leicestershire and England player, of course, they're marching around the edges of the square, checking out whether it's damp here or playable there, and the blotter, driven by Andy Ward, the Leicestershire groundsman, is going up and down. So the Fox is on the brink of victory, but are they going to be denied by the weather? We'll know soon. Well, I had to keep sort of talking. Remember, we do have people listening to us on all forms, and they were anxiously been watching the very good stream that comes from the ground as well. And I've been trying to keep them informed as to what is happening. Otherwise, Martin, I'd have been out there pulling with the best of them.
Richard Ray there, telling porkies.
I'd have happily helped out if
we're not allowed out there, are we?
But exactly, that's the other thing I should have said, isn't it?
Yeah, we're COVID secure in
we're in the outer zone.
our bunker.
Outer zone. The zones are strictly delineated up to a point. That is. Well, Andy Ward is out there. What's he gesturing at? And Paul Nixon is jogging now towards the other groundsman, who's in his orange tractor, to pass on a message. The blotter has made its way over to the other side of the square. Out there with towels soon. They're working so hard, but the ground staff, all the covers are off now. The covers are all off the ground, which is bathed in bright sunshine. Will they put a rope around the ground? That's the other thing.
Yeah, they need to diffuse the water on the surface, don't they?
Yeah, it's draining away quickly. And as I say, bright sunshine, and hot sunshine as well, will dry things very quickly. The groundsman is driving his tractor all the way up to the other groundsman. So normally it lives right on the other side of the ground, but to save time, he's almost driving it into the hut.
Well, it's 40 minutes gone now by the time if they were to get back on.
Let's see. We should know, excuse me, in the next 5 or so minutes, I think, what the equation, if there is an equation, is going to be. Nick Cook's gesturing away at Andy Ward, telling him what he wants doing. Neil Mallender likewise. Might turn up the effects mic back. It doesn't really help. It's too far away. It's just too far away. Yeah. Oops. Oh, there goes me tea. Andy Ward again. What do you want? I'll block this bit. Yeah, block this bit.
Sun's glistening off Neil Mallander's head.
It is. It's so bright out there. Likewise, Paul Nixon. Out comes the other groundsman with his tractor, which he took all the way up to the groundsman's hut at the far side. I wonder what's on his tractor.
Is he towing a mini blotter or sawdust?
Sawdust, maybe.
There's a big bee out there trying to come into the window.
Seems a bit. Well, Ned Eckersley and the rest of the ground staff are all gathered by the electronic scoreboard, and a couple of the Durham coaching staff with him. I think something's going to happen, because they wouldn't have gone through all this so quickly. I don't, but it's just whether it's going to be at all feasible for Leicestershire to chase this down, whatever it is.
James Franklin's calling over Ned Eckersley. Is this it then?
Just
What's
watching
happening?
Colin Ackerman.
Colin Ackerman's walking towards...
Head down a bit.
Yeah, he looks a bit disconsolate,
sinks down
doesn't he?
to his haunches, so I wonder if they've said it can't be done. Let's have a look, see. Ackerman and Nixon both down on their knees, whether they're saying a little prayer to the cricketing weather deities. Well, they've tormented them in this game, and they've tormented them today with that little burst, which has just perhaps cut Leicestershire off in the act of chasing down a target of 292. Hands on his head now for Nixon, might just be protecting it from the sun. The two umpires now talking to Eckersley and Franklin. To say what? There's all sorts of gestures going on out there.
Look at Nick Cook's...
Very animated, isn't he?
Yeah, what's all that about?
Out comes a wheelbarrow.
James Franklin's trying to suggest, look, all this entire part of the square is really, really slippy. He's saying there's too much of the pitch still needs mopping up. He's trying to make sliding motions across the grass. Because as we said, they only got half the square covered because it came down so quickly and so heavily, and then it stopped by the time they were trying to cover the other half of the square. And I'm going back to that David Sales injury in a T20 game for Northants against Durham a few years ago, and he was on the edge of the square and slipped on a wet area and did his knee ligaments and never played again.
The irony, of course, is that with this now almost perfect weather, there's probably going to be 2 solid hours of sunshine, but they can't avail themselves of it all.
No.
They can't play through till, well, it's going to be bright and sunny till 7 o'clock, but they can't go through until 7.
The weather forecast I looked at today, and I mean it does change as the day goes on, but I reckon this was going to be the hottest part of the day.
Just glorious
6
now, isn't
o'clock,
it?
7 o'clock.
Just glorious now.
Just pour your tea out the window. You've got nothing to block that with, have you?
I could use one of my masks, I suppose, but
well,
it's okay.
I've got these sanitising wipes next door if you want one of them.
It'll dry up and just pop it in the sun. It won't take long to...
They're all shaking hands.
Dry.
They're shaking hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately,
it's a draw.
The hard work of the ground staff and indeed the Leicester coaching staff is to no avail. The game has been drawn. They cannot get it dry enough, quickly enough to get back out there. So, 10 points apiece. Leicestershire are denied 84 they needed from 16.1 overs when the rain came. Unfortunately, just heavy enough to prevent a restart. The game is drawn. Well, how disappointing in the end. They gave us some royal entertainment throughout the day, Leicestershire, in the end, but the weather in the end just defeated both sides. So many overs lost. So what was it, 186.4 yesterday, 16.1 today, over 184 point what did we work it out, 186.4, so 16.1 is 202 overs and 5 balls. And in the circumstances, I think we did pretty well to get as close to a result as we did. The players and the captains did their very best, but in the end the weather has won. 10 points apiece then for Leicestershire and Durham from the game. I hope you enjoyed our commentary from Fisher County Ground. It was becoming exciting, and it potentially would have been a great finish, but not to be on this occasion. So, from myself, Richard Ray for BBC Radio Leicester, and from my colleague Martin Emerson from BBC Radio Newcastle. For the last time in the Bob Willis Trophy from the Fisher County Ground in this game, it's a very good afternoon.
Goodbye.